Yeah. Chapter 3. Well, I have 100 questions, 1,000, a million. And the problem is, I sometimes don't know where to begin. Just list the questions, just start somewhere, go ahead right now, make a list of the questions that occur to you. Okay, some of them are going to be, some of them are going to seem pretty simple, pretty plebeian. Stop making judgments against yourself. Just list them. Right, well, here are ones that occur to me now. When will my life finally take off? What does it take to get it together and achieve a modicum of success? Can the struggle ever end? Number two, when will I learn enough about relationships to be able to have them go smoothly? Is there any way to be happy in relationships? Must they always be constantly challenging? Number three, why can't I ever seem to attract enough money in my life? Am I destined to be scrimping and scraping for the rest of my life? What is blocking me from realizing my full potential in this regard? Number four, why can't I do what I really want to do with my life and still make a living? Number five, how can I solve some of the health problems I face? I have been the victim of enough chronic I have been the victim of enough chronic problems to last a lifetime. Why am I having them all now? Number six, what is the karmic lesson I'm supposed to be learning here? What am I trying to master? Number seven, is there such a thing as reincarnation? How many past lives have I had? What was I in them? Is karmic debt a reality? Number eight, I sometimes feel very psychic. Is there such a thing as being psychic? Am I that? Are people who claim to be psychic trafficking with the devil? Number nine, is it okay to take money for doing good? If I choose to do healing work in the world, God's work, can I do that and become financially abundant too? Or are the two mutually exclusive? Number 10, is sex okay? Come on, what is the real story behind this human experience? Is sex purely for procreation, as some religions say? Is true holiness and enlightenment achieved through denial or transmutation of the sexual energy? Is it okay to have sex without love? Is just the physical sensation of it okay enough as a reason? Number 11, why did you make sex so good, so spectacular, so powerful a human experience if all we are to do is to stay away from it as much as we can? What gives? For that matter, why are all fun things either immoral, illegal, or fattening? Is there life on other planets? Have we have we been visited by it? Are we observing now? Will we see evidence, irrevocable and indisputable, of extraterrestrial life in our lifetime? Does each form of life have its own God? Are you the God of it all? Number 13. Will Utopia ever come to the planet Earth? Will God ever show himself to Earth's people as promised? Is there such a thing as the second coming? Will there be an end of the world or an apocalypse or as prophesied in the Bible? Is there a one true religion? If so, which one? These are just a few of my questions. As I said, I have 100 more. Some of these questions embarrass me. They seem so sophomoric, but answer them, please, one at a time, and let's talk about them. Good. Now we are getting to it. Don't apologize for these questions. These are the questions men and women have been asking for hundreds of years. If the questions were so silly, They won't be asked over and over again by each succeeding generation. So let's go to question one. I have established laws in the universe that makes it possible for you to create exactly what you choose. These laws cannot be violated, nor can they be ignored. You are following these laws right now, even as you read this. You cannot follow the law. You cannot not follow the law, for these are the ways things work. You cannot step aside from this. You cannot operate outside of it. Every minute of your life, you have been operating inside of it, and everything you have ever experienced, you have thusly created. You are in a partnership with God. We share an eternal covenant. My promise to you is to always give you what you ask. Your promise is to ask, to understand the process of the asking and the answering. I have already explained this process to you once. I'll do so again so that you clearly understand. You are a threefold being. You consist of body, mind, and spirit. You could also call these the physical, the non-physical, and the metaphysical. This is the Holy Trinity, and it has been called by many names. That which you are, I am. I am manifested as three in one. Some of your theologians have called this Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Your psychiatrists have recognized this triumvirate and called it conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. Your philosophers have called it the id, the ego, and the superego. Science calls this energy, matter, and antimatter. Poets speak of mind, heart, and soul. New Age thinkers refer to body, mind, and spirit. Your time is divided into past, present, future. Could this not be the same as subconscious, conscious, and superconscious? Space is likewise divided into three: here, there, and the space between. It is defining and describing this space between that becomes difficult, elusive. The moment you begin defining or describing the space you describe becomes here or there. Yet we know that this space between exists. It is what holds here and there in place, just as the eternal now holds before and after in place. These three aspects of you are actually three energies. You might call them thought, word, and action. All three put together produce a result which is your language and understanding and is called a feeling or experience. Your soul, subconscious, id, spirit, past, etc., is the sum total of every feeling you've ever created. Your awareness of some of these is called your memory. When you have a memory, you are said to remember. That is to put back together, to reassemble the parts. When you reassemble all of the parts of you, you will have remembered who you really are. The process of creation starts with thought, an idea, conception, visualization. Everything you see was once someone's idea. Nothing exists in your world that did not first exist as pure thought. This is true of the universe as well. Thought is the first level of creation. Next comes the word. Everything you say is a thought expressed. It is creative and sends forth creative energy into the universe. Words are more dynamic, thus, some might say more creative than thought, because words are a different level of vibration from thought. They disrupt, change, alter, affect the universe with greater impact. Words are the second level of creation. Next comes action. Actions are words moving. Words are thoughts expressed. Thoughts are ideas formed. Ideas are energies coming together. Energies are forces released. Forces are elements existent. Elements are particles of God, portions of all, the stuff of everything. The beginning is God, the end is action. Action is God creating or God experienced. Your thought about yourself is that you are not good enough, not wondrous enough, not sinless enough to be a part of God, in partnership with God. You have denied for so long who you are that you've forgotten who you are. This has not occurred by coincidence. This is a not happenstance. It is all part of the divine plan, for you could not claim, create, experience who you are if you already were it. It was necessary first for you to release, deny, forget your connection to me in order to fully experience it by fully creating it, by calling it forth. For your grandest wish and my grandest desire was for you to experience yourself as part of me you are. You are therefore in this process of experiencing yourself by creating yourself anew in every single moment, as am I through you. Do you see the partnership? Do you grasp its implication? It is a holy collaboration, truly a holy communion. Now, what is God referring here when he's talking about, these three Trinity, three lines, three places, body, mind, soul? So who we are is a combination of three things. So three is actually even, a very powerful number. If you talk about numerology, or, Trishul three ka hota hai, and Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, there are three. The Holy Trinity in Christ. In Muslim, their number 786, the total up to a single digit comes to three. So three is a very powerful number. So when he's talking about who you are a combination of a body, mind, and soul, or spirit, whatever you want to call it. Who we are is just a combination of these three things. हमारे पास एक बॉडी है, हमारे पास एक माइंड है, और हमारे पास एक सोल है. दैट इज द कंबाइंड होली ट्रिनिटी. उसको हम कॉन्शियस माइंड, सबकॉन्शियस माइंड, सुपर कॉन्शियस माइंड कह दें, पास्ट, प्रेजेंट, फ्यूचर कह दें. Every profession, every religion has different names and different set of traits for this trinity. But what is important to know is that in itself we are complete with this body, mind, spirit or soul. इन तीनों में से एक भी चीज नहीं हो, then you are not complete. You are in a very different state. And जहां पे भी God is referring to that you have to, realize and understand who you truly are. That is actually beyond the Holy Trinity. So who we truly are में सबसे पहले law of negation शुरू होता है. Am I this body? No. Am I this mind? No. Am I this soul? No. Then who am I? वहां से क्वेश्चन शुरू होता है, because a lot of people get to the level of thinking that I am not the body and I am not the mind and I am just that soul. Yes, up to a limit that helps, because that helps you disconnect from the body and disconnect from the mind, because these two have a lot of ego in them, including your body as well as your mind. So उस ईगो को हटाने के लिए पहले आपको एक एसोसिएशन, फिकल एसोसिएशन बनानी पड़ती है, that you are the soul. But once you go beyond that, that I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, and then you go beyond to know who you truly are, then you have to let go that you are also not that soul. That is also a covering which is given to you for experiencing these things. And that is the realization of who am I. So up to the point when you get that you are the soul, that is the self-realization. From self-realization to realizing or to God's realization is moving from the concept that I am not the soul, I am pure awareness, I am pure consciousness, and I am one with the source. But ये concept नहीं पता, अगर पता भी है, इसकी realization, it's a whole process where you need to really work with your meditation, with, say, some ascended masters, some gurus, and a lot of God's grace is there. So वो सारी चीजें after this process पे आती है. But what is more relevant right now is that, when we are talking about healing also, बड़े लोग क्या करते हैं healing में, they only try to work with the mind. यार मैंने healing करा ली, but true healing is actually a healing which covers all these three, and that is called holistic healing. So where your body is healed, there is no trauma stored inside any body part. Where your mind is healed, where you have the wisdom and the clarity as to why things are happening, and where your soul is healed, it's at peace with what is. So this trinity is very important in terms of your true healing, in terms of your true knowledge or true experience to really know who you truly are. And in this journey of realizing who you truly are, it's, starts with self-realization and goes up to God realization. Life will take off for you. Then when you choose for it to, you have not so chosen as yet. You have procrastinated, prolonged, protracted, protested. Now it is time that you promulgated and produced what you have been promised. To do this, you must believe the promise and live it. You must live the promise of God. The promise of God is that you are his son, her offspring, its likeliness, his equal. Here is where you get hung up. You can accept his son, offspring, likeness, but you recoil at being called his equal. It is too much to accept. Too much beingness, too much wonderment, too much responsibility. For if you are God's equal, that means nothing is being done to you and all the things are created by you. There can be no more victims and no more villains, only outcomes of your thought about a thing. I tell you this, all you see in your world is the outcome of your idea about it. Do you want your life to truly take off? Then change your idea about you. Think, speak, and act as the God you are. Of course, this will separate you from most of your fellow men. They will call you crazy. They will say you are blasphemy. They will eventually have enough of you and they will attempt to crucify you. They will do this not because they think you are living in a world of your own illusions. Most men are gracious enough to allow you your private entertainments, but because sooner or later others will become attracted to your truth for the promise it holds for them. Here is where your fellow men will interfere, for here is where you will begin to threaten them. For your simple truth, simply lived, will offer more beauty, more comfort, more peace, more joy, and more love of self and others than anything your earthly fellows can contribute. And that truth adopted would mean the end of their ways. It would mean the end of hatred and fear and bigotry and war, the end of the condemning and killing that has gone on in my name. The end of might is real, the end of purchase through power, the end of loyalty and homage through fear, the end of the world as they know it and as you have created it thus far. So be ready, kind soul, for you will be vilified and spat upon, called names and deserted, and finally they will accuse you, try you, and condemn you all in their own ways from the moment you accept and adopt your holy cause, the realization of self. Why then do it? Because you are no longer concerned with the acceptance or approval of the world. You are no longer satisfied with what that has brought you. You are no longer pleased with what it has given others. You want the pain to stop, the suffering to stop, the illusion to end. You have had enough of this world as it presently is. You seek a newer world. Seek it no longer. Now call it forth. It's very interesting. अगर हम इस चीज को थोड़ी देर के लिए, just for say a minute or 2 minutes, just try to experience कि when we get to this real truth. Okay. So for 2 minutes, you all are with me, and whatever I am saying, there is no question. It is an assumption, and you are giving me those 2 minutes. In those 2 minutes, the only assumption which is going to be a reality for this 2 minutes. If you want, you can have your eyes closed. If you want, you can have your eyes open. Absolutely your call. But just imagine that you have this wisdom, this ultimate truth, that everything on planet Earth, everything that has life, be it plants, be it animals, be it humans, be it any other living being, everybody is the same because they are from the same source. हम सब same हैं. Everybody has, a connection to the source which gives us this reality that we all are one. फिर हम क्यों सोचते हैं यार इसने मेरे साथ ऐसे किया, वो भी आपका ही पार्ट है. He is not different. It is just that you have been given a skin as a boundary for your protection on planet Earth. That is the only reality. Deep down, everybody is the same. Everybody is connected to that source. Everybody is part of that oneness. It is only through this barrier and boundary of the skin that we differentiate between others. Everything which has a life is connected. The entire oxygen which is there in the universe, that carries the prana which is giving you that breath. It's the same for everybody. Everybody is breathing the same oxygen as you are. If that same oxygen works for you, works for the others, then try to get to this basic reality that yes, we all are one at that level. It is just a matter of time for us to get to that level in order to fully experience it. That's the only thing. In case you have your eyes closed, you can now open. Can you help me to better understand how to do that? Yes. Go first to your highest thought about yourself. Imagine the you that you would be if you lived that thought every day. Imagine what you would think, do, and say, and how you would respond to what others do and say. Do you see any difference between the projection and what you think, do, and say now? Yes, I see a great deal of difference. Good. You should, since we know that right now you are not living your highest vision of yourself. Now, having seen the differences between where you are and where you want to be, begin to change. Consciously change your thoughts, your words, and actions to match your grandest vision. This will require tremendous mental and physical effort. It will entail constant, moment to moment monitoring of every thought, word, and deed. It will involve continued choice making consciously. The whole process is a massive move to consciousness. What you will find out if you undertake this challenge is that you spend half of your life unconscious. That is to say, unaware on a conscious level of what you are choosing in the way of thoughts, words, and deeds until you experience the aftermath of it. Then, when you experience these results, you deny that your thoughts, words, and deeds had anything to do with them. This is to call to stop such unconscious living. It is a challenge to which your soul has called you from the beginning of time. So in order to add more to this of whatever, God is saying to the author, we need to come at a premise where we are consciously aware of everything that is happening around us. Because अभी क्या है, हमने एक पैटर्न्स बन गए हैं, एक मेमोरी बैंक में इंफॉर्मेशन फीड हो गई है, and the whole body and your, the entire system is just working on autopilot. ये चीज हुई, इसका ये रिस्पॉन्स, ये चीज हुई, इसका ये रिस्पॉन्स, ये चीज हुई, इसका ये रिस्पॉन्स. There is not much of cognitive conscious thinking happening. But, it's very important to take this first step, is to be consciously aware of everything. It's like taking back the control. किससे ले रहे हैं वो कंट्रोल? माइंड से. Because अभी हमने, unconsciously we have given the power of attorney of our entire system as this being, human being, to the mind. Tu kar yaar. Full support. And the mind is doing everything and anything it wants to do. What is the result? The way you are perceiving things, the way you are getting anxious about things, the way you are, getting uncomfortable about things, the way you are driving small pleasures also from some certain things, that the way, you are continuously enjoying that ego massage. It's all the mind. Power attorney aapne di hai. But once you begin with this journey of being consciously aware, then you take back. Sabse pehle you revoke that power of attorney given to the mind. No, mind, you're part of me. You're not me. And you're going to obey my command. You are here to serve my purpose, not drive me wherever you want me to go. That's the first step. Being consciously aware of everything that is happening. Negative se negative thoughts aayenge, in this process, the mind will challenge you at every point. ऐसे नहीं होगा, ये तो बहुत रिस्की है, ऐसे कैसे करेंगे, ये नहीं हो पाएगा, this, that, फलाना ढिमका. So many things the mind is going to play games. But that is the time for you to take that conscious decision what to do. Not necessarily you will take the right decision, because there is no right decision and there is no wrong decision. A decision is a decision. और जो आप सोच समझ के consciously लेते हो, that means it is part of something that you are destined to do. वो right wrong नहीं. But हाँ, there has to be conscious awareness in you that, it is not that this decision is by the mind. It's a bit tricky, but it's absolutely okay, because mind bhi chahiye. Calculations, logic, reasoning के लिए mind है, उसका वो purpose है, but not all decisions. So you need to become consciously aware of your thoughts. And if you feel that these thoughts do not resonate with me and I do not want to give it more attention, because whatever you will give your attention to will eventually grow. So if you start talking about your problems, eventually your problems are going to grow. If you start talking about your blessings, the blessings will grow. If you start talking about money issues will grow. So being consciously aware is prima facie where you want your attention to go. Which thought do you want your attention to go to? You make that choice. And not let the mind threaten you, guide you, or, manipulate you. This kind of continual mental monitoring seems as though it might be terribly exhausting. It could be, until it becomes second nature. In fact, it is your second nature. It is your first nature to be unconditionally loving. It is your second nature to choose to express your first nature, your true nature, consciously. Excuse me, but wouldn't this kind of non-stop editing of everything I think, say, and do make Jack a dull boy? Never. Different? Yes. Dull? No. Was Jesus dull? I don't think so. Was the Buddha boring to be around? People flocked, begged to be in his presence. No one who has attained mastery is dull. Unusual, perhaps, extraordinary, perhaps, but never dull. So, do you want your life to take off? Begin at once to imagine it the way you want it to be and move into that. Check every thought, word, and action that does not fall into harmony with that. Move away from those. When you have a thought that is not in alignment with your highest vision, change to a new thought then and there. When you say a thing that is out of alignment with your grandest idea, make a note not to say something like that again. When you do a thing that is misaligned with your best intention, decide to make that the last time and make it right with whomever was involved if you can. I've heard this before. I have always railed against it because it seems so dishonest. I mean, if you are sick as a dog, you're not supposed to admit it. If you're broke as a pauper, you're never supposed to say it. If you're upset as hell, you're not supposed to show it. It reminds me of the joke about the three people who were sent to hell. One was a Catholic, one was a Jew, and one was a New Ager. The devil said to the Catholic snarlingly, "Well, how are you enjoying the heat?" And the Catholic sniffled, "I'm offering it up." The devil then asked the Jew, "And how are you enjoying the heat?" The Jew said, "So what else could I expect but more hell?" Finally, the devil approached the New Ager. "Heat?" The New Ager asked perspiring, "What heat?" That's a good joke, but I'm not talking about ignoring the problem or pretending it isn't there. I am talking about noticing the circumstance and then telling your highest truth about it. If you're broke, you're broke. It's pointless to lie about it and actually debilitating to try to manufacture a story about it so as not to admit it. Yet it's your thought about it. Broke is bad. This is horrible. I'm a bad person. Because good people who work hard rarely try, never go broke, etc. That rules how you experience brokenness. It's your words about it. I'm broke. I haven't a dime. I don't have any money. That dictates how long you stay broke. It's your actions surrounding it. Feeling sorry for yourself, sitting around desperate, not trying to find a way out because what's the use anyway, that create your long-term reality. The first thing to understand about the universe is that no condition is good or bad. It just is. Stop making value judgments. The second thing is to know that all conditions are temporary. Nothing stays the same. Nothing remains static. Which way a thing changes depends on you. I repeat this paragraph again. The first thing to understand about the universe is that no condition is good or bad. It just is. So stop making value judgments. The second thing is to know that all conditions are temporary. Nothing stays the same. Nothing remains static. Which way a thing changes depends on you. So what do we learn here? कि कोई भी condition, whatever your state is, you have money, you don't have money, you have food, you don't have food, you have good health, you don't have good health, irrelevant. It is as it is. It's only your judgment or your labeling of the situation makes it good or bad for you. Situation में तो कुछ नहीं है. It is as it is. But it's only the judgment and the labeling part is, giving it more meaning. And this is by your mind. The reality is, it is as it is. Nahi hai paise. I am broke. Because each and everything on planet Earth is constantly changing, including the trillion cells present inside your body. I don't know if you're aware, we have nearly a trillion cells inside our body, and they completely change in, say, 3 to 6 months. Constantly. ऐसा नहीं कि cells change नहीं हो रहे. There are certain diseases associated जहाँ cells नहीं change होते या cells बहुत rapidly change होते हैं. Those are medical ailments. Cancer हो गया. It has to do with cells. But normal human being, your cells are constantly changing. So there is nothing that is stationary. There is nothing that is permanent. Nothing in life is permanent. But which direction will it change to? Depends on your action. मेरे पास खाना नहीं है और मैं आराम से बैठा हूं, यार भगवान ने खाना देना होगा ना, दे देगा. कुछ नहीं होगा. एक दो बार शायद दे भी जाएगा कोई. So everything that is coming to your space is there as it is. Your labeling, your judgment is, making it good or defining it as good or bad. And whatever your situation is not permanent. It's going to change. But which direction will that change come? That is based on you and your actions. So अगर हम किसी situation में हैं जहाँ पे हमें थोड़ा सा discomfort हो रहा है, we need to realize that yes, it will change. But the change and that direction in which that will change is only and only by my own action. Nobody is going to come and do that action for you. Excuse me, but I have to interrupt you again here. What about the person who is sick but has the faith that will move mountains, and so thinks, says, and believe he's going to get better, only to die 6 weeks later? How does that square with all the positive thinking, affirmation, action stuff? That's good. You are asking the tough questions. That's good. You're not simply taking my word for any of this. There is a place on down the line when you'll have to take my word for this, because eventually you will find that we can discuss this thing forever, you and I, until there's nothing left to do but to try it or deny it. But we are not at that place yet. So let's keep the dialogue going. Let's keep talking. The person who has the faith to move mountains and dies 6 weeks later has moved mountains for 6 weeks. That may have been enough for him. He may have decided on the last hour of the last day, okay, I've had enough. I'm ready to go on now to another adventure. You may not have known of that decision because he may not have told you. The truth is, he may have made that decision quite a bit earlier, days, weeks earlier, and not have told you, not have told anyone. You have created a society in which it is very not okay to want to die, very not okay to be very okay with death, because you don't want to die. You can't imagine anyone wanting to die, no matter what their circumstances or condition. But there are many situations in which death is preferable to life, which I know you can imagine if you think about it for even a little bit. Yet, these truths don't occur to you. They are not that self-evident. When you are looking in the face someone else who is choosing to die, and the dying person knows this, she can feel the level of acceptance in the room regarding her decision. Have you ever noticed how many people wait until the room is empty before they die? Some even have to tell their loved ones, no, really go get a bite to eat or go get some sleep. I'm fine. I'll see you in the morning. And then when the loyal guard leaves, so does the soul from the body of the guarded. If they told their assembled relatives and friends, I just want to die, they would really hear it. Oh, you mean that? Do you mean that? Now don't talk that way, or hang in there. Please don't leave me. The entire medical profession is trained to keep people alive rather than keeping people comfortable so that they can die with dignity. You see, to a doctor or a nurse, death is failure. To a friend or relative, death is disaster. Only to the soul is death a relief, a release. The greatest gift you can give the dying is to let them die in peace, not thinking that they must hang on or continue to suffer or worry about you at this most crucial passage in their life. So, this is very often what has happened in the case of the man who says he's going to live, believes he's going to live, even prays to live, that at the soul level he has changed his mind. It is time now to drop the body to free the soul for other pursuits. And the soul makes this decision. Nothing the body does can change it. Nothing the mind thinks can alter it. It is at that moment of death that we learn who in the body, mind, soul triumvirate is running things. All your life, you think you are your body. Some of the times, you think you are your mind. It is at the time of death that you find out who you really are. Now, there are also times when the body and the mind are just not listening to the soul. This too creates the scenario you describe. The most difficult people the most difficult thing for people to do is to hear their own soul. Notice that so few do. Now it happens often that the soul makes a decision that it's time to leave the body. The body and the mind, ever servants of the soul, hear this, and the process of extrication begins. Yet the mind, ego, doesn't want to accept. After all, this is the end of its existence. So it instructs the body to resist death. This the body does gladly, since it does not want to die. The body and the mind, ego, receive great encouragement, great praise for this from the outside world, the world of its creation. So the strategy is confirmed. Now, at this point, everything depends on how badly the soul wants to leave. If there is no great urgency here, the soul may say, all right, you win. I'll stick around with you a little longer. But if the soul is very clear that staying does not serve its higher agenda, that there is no further way it can evolve through this body, the soul is going to leave and nothing will stop it, nor should anything try to. The soul is very clear that its purpose is evolution. That is its sole purpose and its sole purpose. It is not concerned with the achievements of the body or the development of the mind. These are all meaningless to the soul. The soul is also clear that there is no great tragedy involved in leaving the body. In many ways, the tragedy is being in the body. So you have to understand the soul sees this whole death thing differently. It, of course, sees the whole life thing differently too. And that is the source of much of the frustration and anxiety one feels in one's life. The frustration and anxiety comes from not listening to one's soul.